All right, you are live. What a beautiful winter morning, and we are talking about Ferdinand Magellan. Ferdinand Magellan. Let's see. So, yesterday I was watching this podcast, My First Million, and on this podcast, one of the guys, Sampar, he talks about him meeting Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is the guy who is trying to be the most what's the word? Most recorded man in the history. A person who a lot of his metrics are being recorded, calculated on a day by day basis. And he basically wants to defeat death. He basically wants to become a person who can find how humans can just stay alive. And he's been on it for a long time. And Sampar was like, he asked him, Brian, hey, what's your inspiration? Why are you doing this? And then he talks about Magellan and he's like, hey, there are very few figures in the history who we remember or who are remembered because of the things they did and who are still relevant today. And we talk about them. And he was really inspired when he read the story of Ferdinand Magellan. And he wanted to do something so that in 2100, in year 2100, people still remember Brian Johnson because he's known as the person who defeated death, who basically find the cure that how can we just stay alive? How can humans just live? So that was very interesting. Okay. Ferdinand Magellan Swipartis Freddy Claris. Let's see what's so interesting about him. Born around 1480. So yeah, 500 years ago in Portugal. Was a renowned explorer best known for leading the first expedition to circumnavigate the globe. First expedition. Hmm. It's initially these adventurers who are known, who are who are really remembered. Born around 1418, Portugal was a renowned explorer best known for leading the first expedition to circumnavigate the globe. Here's a detailed overview. Birth and background. Magellan was born into a noble family in Sabrosa or Porto, Portugal. He served as a page in the royal court and developed a passion for sailing and exploration from a young age. Sailing and exploration from a young age. He joined the Portuguese Navy, participating in battles in India, the East Indies, and Africa. His service included significant engagements like the conquest of Malacca in 1511, which was a crucial victory for Portugal in the East. Expedition to circumnavigate the world. Disappointed with the lack of recognition from Portugal, Magellan sought sponsorship from Spain to find a western sea route, to the Spice Islands, Moluccas, aiming to claim them from Spain. Hmm. Magellan sought sponsorship from Spain to find a western sea route to the Spice Islands, Moluccas, aiming to claim them for Spain. Okay. The voyage. 1519, Magellan set sail from Spain with five ships and about 260 to 270 men. His fleet included the Trinidad, San Antonio, Concep- Concepcion, Santiago, and Victoria. Strait of Magellan. After navigating down the coast of South America, Magellan discovered the passage now known as the Strait of Magellan in October 1520, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Hmm. He named the ocean Pacific due to its calm nature, and when he first entered it, the crossing took 3 months and 20 days, during which the crew suffered from hunger and scurvy. Interesting. He named the ocean Pacific due to its calm nature. When he first entered it, the crossing took 3 months and 20 days, during which the crew suffered from hunger and scurvy. Magellan reached the Philippines in March 1521, where he was killed in a battle on Mactan Island on April 27, 1521. Okay, so 2020, he was just 41 years old. Okay. The voyage. 1519, Magellan set sail from Spain and with five ships and about 260 to 250, 270 men. His fleet included the Trinidad, San Antonio, Concepcion, Santiago, and Victoria. After navigating down the coast of South America, Magellan discovered the passage now known as the Strait of Magellan. He named the ocean Pacific, so he named Pacific Ocean. Due to its calm nature when he first entered it, the crossing took 3 months and 20 days, during which the crew suffered from hunger and scurvy. He reached the Philippines in March 1521, where he was killed in a battle on Mactan Island on April 27, 1521. Circumnavigation. Although Magellan did not complete the circumnavigation himself, his expedition was the first to achieve this feat. His expedition was the first to achieve this feat. Oh, very interesting. So he was killed, but his expedition did complete it. The Victoria under Juan Sebastian de Elcano returned to Spain in 1522, completing the journey. Okay, so it took them 3 years, 20, 21, 22. Wow, 3 years, 260 to 270 men. He reached Philippines. So he started from Portugal. He went around. He came to Philippines, where he was killed in a battle on Mactan Island. Hmm. Magellan's expedition discovered the Strait of Magellan, the first European to cross the Pacific Ocean and several Pacific islands. His journey provided physical proof of the Earth's roundness. His journey provided physical proof of the Earth's roundness. Hmm. Expedition discovered the Strait of Magellan, the first European to cross the Pacific Ocean. The first European to cross the Pacific Ocean. He also named it Pacific Ocean and several Pacific islands. He named the Pacific Ocean, and several geographical features bear his name, including the Strait of Magellan, the Magellanic Clouds and craters on the Moon and Mars. Wow, wow. The first one to provide the proof of roundness. Impact. His voyage opened up new trade routes and led to the Spanish colonization of Guam and Philippines. His voyage opened up new trade routes and led to the Spanish colonization of Guam and Philippines. It also demonstrated that Asia could be reached by sailing west from Europe, a concept Columbus had tried to prove. Mutiny. Magellan faced a mutiny by several of his captains at Port Saint Julian, which he quelled by executing one of the mutineers. Hmm. Losses. Only 18 of the original crew members returned to Spain, highlighting the severe hardships faced during the voyage. Only 18 of the original crew members. Wow. So 200, almost 250 people died. Wow. Like 95% of the crew. Only 18 of the original crew members returned to Spain, highlighting the severe hardships faced during the voyage. His expedition, despite his untimely death, marked a significant milestone in the age of discovery. His leadership, determination, and the discoveries made during his voyage have left an indelible mark on world history, navigation, and exploration. Hmm. How did his death impact the rest of the expedition? Let's see. Also, quick update to the temperature. All right, let's get back. Search images. Ferdinand Magellan's death. On this spot, Ferdinand Magellan died on April 27, 1521, wounded in an encounter with the soldiers of Lapu Lapu, chief of Mactan Island, one of Magellan's ships The Victoria, under the command of Juan Sebastian Elcano, sailed from Cebu and anchored at Lucar, San Lucar of Barrameda on September 6, 1522, thus completing the first circumnavigation of the Earth. Wow. Hmm. Wow. Circulus equinoctialis, prima ego velivolis ambivi, Magellan novote duceducta freto. Hmm. Following his death, the expedition faced a leadership vacuum. Juan Sebastian Elcano, a Basque mariner, assumed command of the expedition, taking over from Magellan as captain general. This transition was not without its challenges, as Elcano had previously been involved in a mutiny against Magellan. Immediate departure. After Magellan's death, the remaining crew faced further hostility from local leaders. Raja Humabon, who had initially been an ally. Raja Humabon. Raja Humabon. Okay. Raja Humabon, who had initially been an ally, betrayed the Europeans by poisoning some of the crew at a feast. Whoa. Who had initially been an ally, betrayed the Europeans by poisoning some of the crew at a feast. This betrayal prompted Elcano to order an immediate departure from Cebu, fearing further attacks. Poisoned some of the crew at a feast. This betrayal prompted Elcano to order an immediate departure from Cebu, fearing further attacks. Reduced crew and resources. The expedition was already depleted by the time of Magellan's death. Only about 40 men and one ship, the Victoria, completed the circumnavigation. The crew had suffered from starvation, scurvy, and hostile encounters with indigenous people, and Magellan's death further reduced their numbers. Navigation challenges. Without Magellan's leadership, the expedition faced navigation challenges. They continued west, eventually reaching the Moluccas, Spice Islands, after 2 years. The journey back to Spain was fraught with difficulties, including navigating through waters controlled by the Portuguese and dealing with the harsh conditions of the Indian Ocean. Despite the loss of the leader, the expedition managed to complete the first circumnavigation of the globe. The Victoria, under Elcano's command, returned to Spain on September 6, 1522, with only 18 men of the original 270 who had set sail. Magellan did not erase his accomplishments. His expedition proved that circumnavigating the globe was possible, opening up new possibilities for future explorers. Hmm. Opening up new possibilities for future explorers, the journey also demonstrated the limitations of Western military superiority and highlighted the resistance of indigenous peoples against European colonization. The Battle of Mactan and Magellan's death serve as a reminder of the complexities and challenges associated with exploration and colonization. It underscores the importance of cultural understanding, diplomacy, and respect for local customs and traditions. Cultural understanding, diplomacy, and respect for local customs and traditions, leading to a change in leadership, immediate departure from hostile territory, and continuation of the journey under severe hardships. That's a good question. What were the main reason for the high mortality rate among Magellan's crew? Scurvy, vitamin C deficiency. A disease caused by lack of vitamin C was the primary killer, accounting for the deaths of 69 men. Okay. It's really cool that they have data on this. The crew's diet lacked fresh fruits and vegetables, which are rich in vitamin C, leading to severe health issues. Fresh fruits and vegetables, hmm, which are rich in vitamin C, leading to severe health issues. The Victoria was particularly hard hit due to its extended search for the San Antonio, which meant its crew went without. The Victoria was particularly hard hit due to its extended search for the San Antonio, which meant its crew went without fresh vegetables for longer periods than those on other ships. Hmm. Battle and murder. 30 men died in battle or were murdered by natives, including Magellan himself, during the Battle of Mactan. The expedition faced resistance from local population, especially in the Philippines, where Magellan's attempt to assert Spanish authority led to his death and the subsequent massacre of many of his officers. Hmm. Miscellaneous causes. 33 men died from various accidents and diseases, including drowning, which claimed 5 lives. The harsh condition of the voyage, including storms and the lack of proper medical care, contributed to these deaths. Mutiny and leadership issues. 4 mutineers were either killed or marooned, and one man was killed by the mutineers. The mutiny at Port Saint Julian, led by Spanish captains, was a significant event that disrupted the expedition's cohesion and morale. The crew faced severe food shortages, especially during the crossing of the Pacific Ocean, which lasted over 3 months. This led to malnutrition and weakened the crew's resistance to diseases. Magellan himself was killed by a poison arrow during the Battle of Mactan, highlighting the use of indigenous poisons that could have contributed to the death toll. Magellan's decision to engage in battle with Lapu-Lapu's forces, despite being vastly outnumbered, was a critical error. His overconfidence in European weaponry and tactics led to his death and the loss of several men. High mortality rate was a result of combination of factors: scurvy due to vitamin C deficiency, hostile encounters with indigenous populations, accidents, diseases, mutiny, starvation, and the use of poison weapons. His leadership decisions, particularly his overconfidence and poor planning, also played a significant role in the expedition's tragic outcome. The expedition's success in circumnavigating the globe was a monumental achievement, albeit at a tremendous human cost. How did the defection of the San Antonio impact the remaining ship? Hmm. Why is Magellan still remembered today? Historical significance. He did not survive to complete it, was the first to circumnavigate the globe, proving that the Earth is indeed round. So he wasn't the guy who actually finished it, but he was the one who gave the vision that we can do this. So that is very interesting. Hmm. They started from here, Portugal, and they went to Santa Lucia Bay, Rio de Janeiro, Rio de Solis, Puerto San Julian, Cabo, Strait of Magellan. Okay, so Strait of Magellan is right here, and this is how they cross the Atlantic Ocean. They could have just gone like this, and saved more time. And then Sharks Island, San Pablo Island, Vostok, or Flint. And then, so these are all former names: Santa Lucia Bay, Rio de Solis, Cabo, All Saints Street, Sharks Island, Puka Puka. And they came here in Philippines, Cebu, Mactan, Cebu. And from there they went back the door, Timor, Cape of Good Hope, and back. Interesting. 3 years, proving that the Earth is indeed round and that a Western Sea route to Asia was possible. His voyage is considered a pivotal moment in human history, comparable to the first manned journey into outer space and the moon landings, marking a significant advancement in our understanding of the world. Hmm. His voyage is considered a pivotal moment in human history, comparable to the first manned journey into outer space and the moon landings, marking a significant advancement in our understanding of the world. Strait of Magellan. He discovered the strait that now bears his name, linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans at the tip of South America. Hmm. This is all Atlantic Ocean. This is all Pacific Ocean. And Pacific Ocean is the one which was never discovered. Nobody went there. The entire world is here. And this is also really cool. Like, Europeans were the ones who were, let's say, most, who were sailors, who were most into exploring the world. And our world is round. But the reason why we look at the world in this way and not in any other configuration is because these were the center of the world. They were the sailors. So when they went west, this became west. When they went east, this all became east. And this is how we start to call this as the Western world and the Eastern world. And this is just how we draw the map today, but we draw the world map today. But world is actually round. So world doesn't, like, a round globe doesn't have a west or an east. This is interesting. We could have placed this over here and this over here. Very interesting. Very interesting. His voyage is considered a pivotal moment in human history, comparable to the first manned journey to outer space and the moon landings, marking a significant advancement in our understanding of the world. I'm really curious now. Who was the f- who was the first person with the idea that humans can go into the outer space? Let's look into that. Strait of Magellan. He discovered the strait that now bears his name, linking the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean at the tip of South America, which was a major navigation achievement. Magellan named the Pacific Ocean, highlighting its vastness and the challenges it posed to navigation. Philosophical impact. Globalization. His journey contributed to the globalization of knowledge and the use of Earth's resources, showing that the world is interconnected. Wow. So they are talking about how the world is interconnected back then, and the use of Earth's resources, showing that the world is interconnected. Conception of the world. This expedition transformed humans' understanding of the world, showing that it is all one interconnected planet. Magellan's expedition transformed humans' understanding of their place in the world, demonstrating that it is all one interconnected planet. Magellanic Clouds. During his voyage, Magellan and his crew observed two galaxies visible from the southern hemisphere, now known as the Magellanic Clouds, contributing to Europeans' knowledge of the universe. Two galaxies visible from the southern hemisphere. Hmm. Inspiration legacy. Inspiration for future explorers. Magellan's determination, navigation skill, and the sheer audacity of his voyage continue to inspire explorers and adventurers, serving as a testament to human curiosity and the pursuit of discovery. Serving as a testament to human curiosity and the pursuit of discovery. Education and cultural impact. His achievements are celebrated through commemorative events, exhibitions, and education programs, keeping his spirit alive and educating future generations about the age of exploration. Complex legacy, imperialism, and subjugation. While Magellan is celebrated for his navigational prowess, his legacy is also complicated by his role in European imperialism and the subjugation of indigenous people, sparking discussions about the ethics of exploration. Enduring memory is due to his monumental achievements in navigation, his contributions to our understanding of the world, and his lasting impact on the fields of exploration, geography, and astronomy. His legacy, while complex, continues to inspire and educate, making him a figure of significant historical importance. Hmm. Right, that is also the start of European imperialism when Europe finally figures out that, okay, the world is interconnected. Let's go out and explore. Let's go out and figure out what can we do, where can we go, what can we see. We are curious about the world. Hmm. That must be crazy. That must be crazy when people first come to these, when people first time, like even today, every time I fly back home, every time I fly back home, I realize how you are suddenly transported into these totally two different worlds. Every time you travel to a new country, in a new continent, you realize that how you are suddenly transported to a totally different world. And I cannot imagine how these guys felt like when they went there for the first time and they are just figuring out, they're just discovering new countries, and then they go there and they're like, oh shit, there is there's more land, there are people over here, and they are totally different from us. They're similar to us, they're people, they're living their own lives, they're worried about their family and they're worried about security and they want to eat food and everything, but they're living totally different lives. That must be crazy. That must be crazy the first time they, back in those days, 1500, 1600, when they would go to newer countries and see like, oh shit, there are people like us, but they live in a totally different way. Yeah, this is crazy. Even today, you just fly from here to India or some other country like that, and you are like, I am in a new world. Wow. Okay, I'm curious about this. Who was the first person to come up with the idea of space exploration? The first person to come up with the idea of space exploration was William Leitch. In 1861, he published a book titled A Journey Through Space, which made the first proposal of using rockets for space flight. Wow. Earth. Limit of balloon, 20 miles. Limit of atmosphere, 200 miles. Moon, 200,000 miles. Let me see. If he asked that differently, who was the first person to come up with the idea that humans can go into the outer space? Tell me the story. Oh, it's him. Okay. The first person to come up with the idea of humans traveling into outer space using rockets was William Light, a Scottish astronomer, naturalist. Okay, that is him. That is him. William. Wow. A Scottish astronomer, naturalist, and mathematician. He was born on 20 May 1814 in Scotland. He studied mathematics and science at University of Glasgow, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree with highest honors in 1837, followed by a Master of Arts the next year. He later became an observatory assistant to Professor John Pringle Nicol and lectured on astronomy. In 1861, he published an essay titled A Journey Through Space in the Scottish journal Good Words. This essay was later included as the lead chapter in his 1862 book God's Glory in the Heavens. He accurately described the concept of rocket based spaceflight, proposing that rockets could be used to travel through space. He understood Newton's law of action and reaction, correctly attributing rocket thrust to the internal reaction, predicting that rockets would work more efficiently in the vacuum of space. He envisioned a spacecraft that would transcend Earth's boundaries and visit other celestial bodies, stating, the only machine independent of the atmosphere, the only machine independent of the atmosphere we can conceive of would be one on the principle of the rocket. The only machine independent of the atmosphere we can conceive of would be one on the principle of the rocket. Light's proposal came 4 decades before more well known proposals by Konstantin, Tsiolkovsky, Robert Peltier, Robert H. Goddard, and Erwin Oberth. His work was largely forgotten due to his early death and the bankruptcy of his publisher in 1878. So he said that in 1861. Wow, 1860. And 100 years later, US actually went into the space. Humans went into space. His work was largely forgotten due to his early death and the bankruptcy of his publisher, which led to his writings being stripped of his name and relegated to the theology section of libraries. Hmm. His work was largely forgotten due to his early death and the bankruptcy of his publisher in 1878, which led to his writings being stripped of his name and relegated to the theology section of libraries. The discovery of Lick's contributions was made by space historian Robert Godwin in 2015, who published his findings in the first scientific concept of rockets for space travel. Legacy. His proposal was scientifically sound and predated the commonly cited pioneers of spaceflight theory. His work has been recognized by experts in the field, including Frank Winter, former curator of rocketry at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, and David Baker, editor of the British Interplanetary Society's Spaceflight magazine. His ideas, though not directly influencing later pioneers, demonstrate that the concept of rocket powered space travel was considered much earlier than previously thought, highlighting the visionary nature of his scientific understanding. Wow. His proposal in 1861 marked the first modern scientific explanation of the potential for space exploration using rockets, making him a significant figure in the history of spaceflight, albeit one whose contributions were only recently recognized. This is very interesting. So he was the first person to talk about it, but his work was actually never used. His work was actually never found because at that time it might be just a crazy idea. Some people knew about it, but then he died early and his publisher went bankrupt. So his work was just hidden. His work became hidden. Wow. Wow. I think using these tools like I think this will never happen again where someone's work is hidden. If you're really curious about something, first of all, we need to make sure that every book, every piece of content is published online. Every piece of content is has an is published online. And then when someone actually is curious about a particular topic, they can go back in the history and find everything. I think by putting content behind paywall, you are actually doing a disservice to humanity. Wow. By actually putting content behind paywall, you're actually doing disservice to humanity because in case of William Light, I don't know how to say his name, like, let's say like, in case of William Like, he already talked about rocket power in 1861, but 40 years later, when Constantine, Peltier, Esnol, Peltier, Goddard, and Urban Oberth, when they started talking about it, that's when this concept became popular. And they never, like, nobody actually built up on the knowledge. Nobody actually, like, humanity didn't compound on the knowledge that Light had laid out in this article because it was just hidden. It was never found. Nobody knew about it. Hmm. By putting content behind paywall, you're actually doing disservice to the humanity. This is so interesting. Wow, I think I should write that down. I should write that down. By putting content behind paywall, you are you're doing disservice to humanity. That's all right. It's not even on paywall. It's about any kind of gatekeeping. By putting content, by putting knowledge behind paywall, or and this is in contemporary terms where a lot of people don't want to give away their content to AI but just because they're scared that hey, how will we get paid and stuff like that. By putting knowledge, by gatekeeping knowledge, I think this is better. By gatekeeping knowledge, you are doing a disservice to humanity. Hmm. Because in case of like 1861, he wrote this article. He was a professor. He knew a lot about astronomy. He writes this essay, A Journey Through Space. He talks about rockets, but then nobody knows about it. It's just, what does it say? His early death and the bankruptcy of his publisher in 1878. Yeah, so nobody finds his books. Nobody knows about it. Nobody finds it's interesting when they had to they had yeah, and then humanity waited 40 years before they could start working on rockets all over again or thinking about rockets all over again. Hmm. And he was born in Scotland. And this is also a problem, like just location, the difference. There might be even smarter people who might be in a different country like India or something like that. But again, they were not surrounded by people who would take their ideas, compound it. They didn't have the means of communication to actually talk with the world and connect with more other smart people who would take that idea, compound that idea, and take it further. Hmm. By gatekeeping knowledge. So interesting. So interesting. Let's see. We went from Magellan to space because they marked, what did Perplexity say? Perplexity say, turning point in history. His voyage is considered a pivotal moment in human history, comparable to the first manned journey into outer space and the moon landings, marking a significant advancement in our understanding of the world. Significant advancement in our understanding of the world. Hmm. This is Yuri. Played a significant role in selection for the first human spaceflight. Height. Gagarin's height of 1.57 meters was ideal for the cramped interior. Whoa, 5 feet, 5 feet two. He was 5'2". Okay, was ideal for the cramped interior of the Vostok capsule, which had limited space. His physical attribute was a key factor in his selection, as the capsule was designed for pilots no taller than 5 feet 7 and weighing less than 72 kg. Hmm. Pilot training. His experience as a military pilot, having flown MiG fighter jets, provided him with the necessary skills for space flight. His training at the Air Force's pilot school and his subsequent service in the Soviet Air Force gave him the knowledge and experience to operate aircraft in various environments, which was crucial. So he had flown MiG fighter jets, Air Force's pilot school, Soviet Air Force. Okay. Personality. When described as modest, intellectually developed, with a fantastic memory, sharp attention to detail, and a well developed imagination. His ability to defend his point of view when necessary and his overall likability made him a favored candidate among his peers. Hmm. Modest, intellectually developed, with a fantastic memory, sharp attention to detail, and a well developed imagination. His ability to defend his point of view when necessary and his overall likability made him a favored candidate among his peers. His smile and charisma were noted as influential in his selection. His ability to connect with people, including high ranking officials like Sergei Korolev. Wow, so interesting. Just smile. Smile and charisma. Just smile, have charisma, and you will be remembered 100 years later. Smile and charisma. Hmm. Hmm. So interesting. Smile and charisma. Personal qualities, pilot training. But that's not all, right? Like you have to be. So his physical qualities were important. He had training. He knew how to do things. And then personal quality was modest, intellectually developed, with fantastic memory, sharp attention to detail, and a well developed imagination. Likability, smile, and charisma were noted as influential in his selection. His ability to connect with people. Hmm. I think this would be very interesting. Like how to be remembered 100 years later. Wow. Hmm. Smart and charisma was noted as influential in his selection. His ability to connect with people, including high-ranking officials, the USSR's chief rocket designer, played a role in his favor. Humble beginnings. Born to peasant farmers in a small village near Smolensk, Gagarin's humble roots were seen as embodying Soviet ideals. His journey from a farm to a foundry to the stars, from a farm to a foundry to the stars, was a powerful narrative for Soviet propaganda, showcasing the potential for anyone to rise to the ranks of Soviet society. His early life was marked by hardship, including the German invasion of his village during World War II. His early life was marked by hardship, including the German invasion of his village during World War II, where he and his family were forced to live in a mud hut. German invasion of his village during World War II, where he and his family were forced to live in a mud hut. His resilience and survival through these challenging times demonstrated his strength of character. When the 20 candidates were asked to vote anonymously for who they would like to see as the first to fly, all but three chose Gagarin, indicating his popularity and respect among his peers. This is interesting. When the 20 candidates were asked to vote anonymously for who they would like to see as the first to fly, all but three chose Gagarin, indicating his popularity and respect among his peers. Training performance. Gagarin's performance in training, both physically and psychologically, was exceptional. He was part of the elite Sochi 6 group from which the first cosmonauts were chosen, and his performance in the final examinations was ranked the best. His performance in training, both physically and psychologically, were exceptional. He was part of the elite Sochi 6 group from which the first cosmonauts were chosen, and his performance in the final examinations was ranked the best. Ambassador for the Soviet Union. The Soviet authorities saw Gagarin not only as a capable cosmonaut but also as an ambassador for the Soviet Union. His selection was influenced by the desire to present a human face for space exploration, transcending political differences and capturing the imagination of people worldwide. Hmm. Wow. Really cool. Really cool. Really cool. We went very fast from Magellan to Yuri Gagarin. Tell me the story. Selection for the first human spaceflight was influenced by a combination of factors, including his physical suitability, military and pilot experience, and his personal qualities. However, hmm, however, one of the most telling indicators of his suitability was the anonymous vote among his peers. When the 20 cosmonaut candidates were asked to vote anonymously for who they would like to see as the first to fly, all but three chose Gagarin. This vote was a significant factor in his selection, popularity, indicating his popularity and respect among his peers. His height of 5 feet 2 was ideal for the cramped interior of the Vostok capsule, which had limited space. This physical attribute was a key factor in his selection, as the capsule was designed for pilots no taller than 5 feet 7 and weighing less than 72. His experience as a military pilot, having flown MiG fighter jets, provided him with necessary skills for spaceflight. His training at the Air Force's pilot school and his subsequent service in the Soviet Air Force gave him the knowledge and experience to operate aircraft in various environments, which was crucial for the mission. Gagarin was described as modest, intellectually developed, with a fantastic memory, sharp attention to detail, and well developed imagination. The anonymous vote was conducted to gauge the candidates' opinions on who should be the first to fly. Overwhelming support from his peers was a testament to his leadership qualities, his ability to inspire confidence, and his likability. Overwhelming support for his peers was a testament to his leadership qualities, his ability to inspire confidence, and his likability. This vote was not the sole deciding factor, but was a significant endorsement of his suitability for the mission. Selection for the first human spaceflight was a result of his. Got it. We got that. We got that. Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. Who was Sergei inspired by to build rockets? Let's see. Very random question. Sergei, the USSR's chief rocket designer. Okay, so he has a direct reference. Sergei Korolev, the USSR's chief rocket engineer, was inspired by the works of Konstantin Tsiolkovsky to delve deeper into rocket science. Acquaintance with Tsiolkovsky's pioneering ideas on rocketry and astronautics, which included concepts like gas rudders for controlling rocket flight, the use of fuel components for cooling, and the optimal descent trajectory of spacecraft profoundly influenced Korolev's research and development in rocket technology. Very interesting. So we read there were how many people? Well-known proposals by Tsiolkovsky, Robert Peltier, Robert Goddard, and Ermin Osberth. Okay, very interesting question. Let's see if Perplexity can do this. Where did the following people take birth and died? Now, this would be interesting. Uh, in which city did the following people? This would be very interesting because this could inspire the people around them and then also the country to be involved in space exploration. So, Siewolski, okay, we asked a very hard question. Let's see, Perplexity can answer that. Wow, wow. Okay, really cool, really cool. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, Russia, Kaluga. Okay, Peltier, Paris, Nice. Nice. And Robert Goddard, Massachusetts, Baltimore. Yes, American. Sibiu and Nuremberg. Wait, is that Germany? Is that Germany? City of Death. Death. Please also list the countries. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, pretty much the same. This is so interesting. The fact that Perplexity can do this is really cool. Really cool. Really cool. Wow. So now we can see that Tsiolkovsky, born in Russia, hmm, but this doesn't make sense. Like, did only people in Russia, France, United States, and Germany or Romania, were these the only countries that where they had smart people who first came up with space exploration ideas? Let's see. Who in India was the first person to come up with the idea of space exploration. The first person in India to come up with the idea of space exploration was Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. Sarabhai. He is India's first man in space. Joined NDA as an Air Force cadet. He commissioned into the IAFS pilot. 84 became the first Indian to travel in space as part of a joint effort between ISRO and the Soviet Union. 7 days, 21 hours, and 40 minutes he spent aboard the Salyut 7 orbital station. Sare Jahan Se Acha was his answer on PM Indira Gandhi asking how India looked from outer space. Sare Jahan Se Acha. Sare Jahan Se Acha Hindustan Hamara. Oh shit. Wait, so what came first? What came first? Sare Jahan Se Acha. Sare Jahan Se Acha. Wow. It would be really cool if Vikram Sarabhai said Sare Jahan Se Acha first, and then that was used in the song Sare Jahan Se Acha Hindustan Hamara. First Indian man into space. Okay. Who, when was the song Sare Jahan Se Acha released? First published in 1904 in the weekly journal Ittihad. Okay, perfect. सारे जहाँ से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हम बुलबुले हैं इसकी ये गुलसिता हमारा सारे जहाँ से अच्छा. Okay, so he wasn't the one. Okay, but anyways, let's see. Visionary leadership. Dr. Sarabhai recognized the potential of satellites for national development and nation building. He was inspired by the launch of Sputnik in 1957 and saw space technology as a means to leapfrog India's development. Establishment of INCOSPAR. In 1962, under his leadership, the Indian National Committee of Space Research was formed, marking the beginning of India's space research efforts. Physical Research Laboratory (PRL). Dr. Sarabhai founded the PRL in Ahmedabad in 1947, which became the cradle. Okay, so 57. He was inspired after that. In 1947, which became the cradle of space sciences in India, initially focused on cosmic rays that later expanded to include various fields of space and atmospheric sciences. In 1960s, Sarabhai was involved in a study with NASA on the feasibility of using satellites for applications like direct television broadcasting, which influenced India's focus on practical missions. Development of indigenous launch capabilities. He played a crucial role in developing India's first satellite launch vehicle, the Satellite Launch Vehicle. Okay. Inspired by the American Scout rocket. His vision and efforts laid the foundation for the Indian Space Research Organization, which he chaired, and his work continues to inspire India's space program today. Really cool. Really cool. Tell me more about Konstantin Tsiolkovsky's work on space exploration. Father of rocketry. It's so interesting. So William Light, born in Scotland, Glasgow, he wrote about rockets for the first time. He should be the father of rocketry, but his work was hidden. He died early. His publisher went bankrupt, and his work was just hidden. And 40 years later, Konstantin Tsiolkovsky writes about rocketry. Nothing to take away from his work because he totally didn't know about William Light. But the fact that we didn't know about human like, that means like humanity was humanity was went to space, or humanity started thinking about space 40 years later. I think that's a better way to think about it. Humanity thought about space, started thinking about space 40 years later. So 40 years, all the benefits of space exploration was kind of stolen from us just because the ideas of William Light just were hidden, or what's the word? They were they were not they didn't see the light of day. And that made Tsiolkovsky the father of rocketry. Interesting. Made significant contributions to the field of space exploration through his theoretical work and visionary ideas. Born in 1857 in Russia, he was largely self-taught due to his hearing loss from scarlet fever at age 9. His interest in space travel was sparked by reading Jules Verne's From the Earth to the Moon at age 16. This is very interesting, like to look at the inspiration for people who wrote significant work, who did significant work. He began contemplating space travel and the rocket propulsion in the late 19th century, initially exploring the idea of using centrifugal force to launch spacecraft. Centrifugal force to launch spacecraft, that would be interesting. Rocket equation. In 1903, Tsiolkovsky published the Tsiolkovsky rocket equation in a Russian aviation magazine. This equation, now known as the Tsiolkovsky formula, established the relationship between change in rocket speed, exhaust velocity of the engine, change in rocket speed, exhaust velocity of the engine, initial mass and final mass object of the rocket. Hmm. This equation is fundamental to astronautics and remains a cornerstone of spacecraft engineering. Initial mass divided by final mass, log of initial divided by final times velocity of the engine, exhaust velocity of the engine is equal to change in speed. Multi-stage rockets. In 1929, Tsiolkovsky published his theory on multi-stage rockets, proving that such a design was necessary for a rocket to reach escape velocity and enter Earth's orbit. To reach escape velocity and enter Earth's orbit. Right. Because it might be really heavy. It will be really heavy. So to reach escape velocity, you need a lot of speed, which means you need little mass, but at the same acceleration, you can just move faster. Space exploration concepts. His 1903 manuscript included detailed designs for a spacecraft with a hull divided into three sections. Okay, right here. A hull divided into three sections. 1903 manuscript included detailed design for a spacecraft with a hull divided into three sections, one for the pilot and co-pilot, and two for liquid oxygen and hydrogen fuel. His design was remarkably similar to modern spacecraft. One space for the pilot and the co-pilot. I don't know, are these couches to sit on? And then it's fuel, a lot of fuel, and two for liquid oxygen and hydrogen fuel. His design was remarkably similar to modern aircraft. He wrote extensively on the theoretical requirements for space travel, including the use of liquid propellants for rockets, which he advocated as early as 1896, the need for pressurized suits for astronauts when leaving the spacecraft, the use of liquid propellants for rockets, which he advocated as early as 1896, the need for pressurized suits for astronauts when leaving the spacecraft, the concept of weightlessness and its effects on humans. Oh, wow. The use of graphite rudders for steering rockets in flight, pumps to drive fuel from storage tanks to the combustion chamber, pumps to drive fuel from the storage tanks to the combustion chamber, the optimal descent descent trajectory for a spacecraft returning from space. This is the entire combustion chamber and fuel moving from storage tank to the combustion chamber. Optimal descent trajectory for spacecraft returning from space. Tsiolkovsky envisioned humans colonizing the solar system and beyond. Hmm. He envisioned humans colonizing the solar system and beyond. He proposed the use of plants for life support. Tsiolkovsky envisioned humans colonizing the solar system and beyond. He proposed the use of plants for life support, solar radiation for energy, and the construction of large orbital settlements. 1903, 100 years ago. Tsiolkovsky envisioned humans colonizing the solar system and beyond. He proposed the use of plants for life support, solar radiation for energy, and the construction of large orbital settlements. He believed that space exploration would elevate human development both physiologically and mentally and would transform our thinking patterns and ethical sense. He wrote over 500 scientific papers, essays, and stories related to space travel. His books include Exploration of Outer Space by Means of Rocket Devices, Exploration of Outer Space by Means of Rocket Devices, where he first suggested that rockets could perform space flight. Plan of Space Exploration, detailing a 16-step program for human civilization to settle the universe. Plan of Space Exploration, Plan of Space Exploration, detailing a 16-step program for human civilization to settle the universe. The Space Rocket Trains, advancing his thoughts on multi-stage rockets. The Space Rocket Trains. His work inspired many young Russian engineers and designers, including Sergei Korolev and Valentin Glushko, who played crucial roles in the Soviet space program, were foundation to the development of modern rocketry and astronautics. He was made member of the Soviet Academy of Science in 1919 and received a government pension in 1921, allowing him to focus full time on his research. His contributions are recognized globally with a moon crater named in his honor. I have so many questions to go from here. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky's work laid the theoretical groundwork for space exploration, rocket propulsion, and the practical aspects of space travel. His visionary ideas and mathematical rigor continue to influence space science and engineering today. Who all have moon craters named after them in their honor? I think this would be an interesting question because now we will just get like who are the most relevant people. If you're a relevant person, you get a moon crater named after yourself. So we got Magellan, we got Tsiolkovsky. So there are, it's very interesting. There are different levels of relevancy. Are you just relevant today on the internet, on Twitter or Instagram? Are you relevant for last 1 year on social media, on internet? Are you relevant today on Instagram, Twitter? Or are you relevant for the humanity such that we would name a moon crater after you? Wow. 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 Okay. Homeward. Anders Earthrise. Astronomical achievements, America Media Jesuit Ministry. Christopher Clavius, professor of mathematics at the Roman College, who played a lead role in developing the Gregorian calendar, dies in Rome. Giovanni Riccioli publishes a moon map that includes a lunar nomenclature still used today. 1753, Roger Boscovich discovers there is no atmosphere on the moon. 1801, Giuseppe Piazzi, a priest of the Theatine order, discovers the dwarf planet Ceres. 1860, Angelo. Angelo Secchi, credited with making the first spectroscopic survey of the stars, becomes one of the first people to photograph the sun during an eclipse. 1906, Johann Hagen, former director of Georgetown University's observatory, becomes director of the Vatican Observatory. There is a crater named after him on the far side of the moon. Becomes director of the Vatican Observatory, former director of Georgetown University's observatory. Anders Earthrise. Hamu, Lamu, Lamu. That the International Astronomical Union approved the name Lamu for a crater on the moon. Wow. McAuliffe, Resnick, Jarvis, McNair, Onizuka, Borman, Shafe, Husband, okay, Ramon, McCool, D. Brown, Chawla, Clark. There's an Indian guy. Let's go. Ritter, Sabine, Aldrin, Collins, Armstrong, Apollo 11, Motke. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, okay, okay. We got some good stuff. Far side of the moon, far side of the moon. Oh, far side of the moon means the dark side, which we don't see from the Earth. West of Gagarin crater, located along the eastern limb of the moon, southeast of center Gamow, Earth-facing side of the moon in the Serenitatis Basin, southern highlands of the moon, south of Tycho crater, near Mare Marginis on the moon's near side, near the lunar equator on the far side of the moon, central highlands of the moon, near the western limb of the moon, northwest of Grimaldi crater. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, crater name Tsiolkovsky, pioneering Russian rocket scientist known for foundational work in astronautics and rocketry, including the Tsiolkovsky rocket equation. Robert Peltier, pioneering French aircraft designer and space flight theorist known for inventing the aileron and building the first all-metal monoplane. Okay, his contributions. I think I've heard of him. I've heard of him. Okay, his contributions significantly advanced the fields of aviation and astronautics. Robert H. Goddard, pioneering work in rocketry, including the development of the world's first liquid fueled rocket, which laid the foundation for modern rocket science. Pioneering work in rocketry, including the development of the world's first liquid fueled rocket, which laid the foundation for modern rocket science. First liquid fueled rocket. Hermann Oberth, pioneering physicist and rocket scientist known for significant contributions to rocketry and space travel, including his book Die Rocket zu den Planeten Roman, which explained how rockets could escape Earth's gravitational pull. Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean and was a pioneer for women in aviation, inspiring future generations of explorers and aviators. Christopher Clavius was a Jesuit priest and mathematician known for his contributions to the reform of the calendar, leading to the creation of the Gregorian calendar. He also played a significant role in advancing mathematics and astronomy education during the Renaissance. Hmm. He also played a significant role in advancing mathematics and astronomy education during the Renaissance. Any Jump Cannon. Any Jump Cannon was a pioneering astronomer who developed the Howard classification scheme, classifying over 350,000 stars and significantly contributing to the field of astronomy. Annie Jump Cannon was a pioneering astronomer who developed the Howard classification scheme, classifying over 350,000 stars and significantly contributing to the field of astronomy. Abu Abu al-Wafa al-Buzajani, Persian mathematician and astronomer known for significant contributions to trigonometry, including innovations in spherical trigonometry, the introduction of the second and cosecant functions. Whoa, whoa, and the compilation of sine and tangent tables. Oh, I think I've heard of him. Abu al-Wafa al-Buzajani. Abu al-Wafa al-Buzajani, Persian mathematician and astronomer known for significant contributions in trigonometry, including innovations in spherical, the introduction of the second and cosecant functions, and the compilation of sine and tangent tables. Ismail ibn Abu al-Fida, Abul Wafa, Abul Wafa, and Abul Fida, renowned Kurdish geographer, historian, and local governor of Hama during the Ayyubid dynasty. His contributions to geography and history, particularly his works that documented the Islamic world, are significant. Wow, very interesting. Very interesting. That should be that should be someone who we learn more about. Giovanni Riccioli, astronomer who introduced a system of lunar nomenclature that is still in use today, naming craters after significant scientists and philosophers. Naming craters after significant scientists and philosophers. He published the Alma Gestum Novum, which became a standard reference work for astronomers in Europe. Who is the moon crater Chavla named after? Let's see. Oh yeah, Kalpana Chawla. The moon crater Chawla is named after Kalpana Chawla, an Indian American astronaut and aerospace engineer. Chawla, Clark, Monday, Boak, Resnick, McAuliffe, Hogan, Corey, Leavitt, Lipot, Proctor, Katharina, Clark, Maury, Cannon, Fleming, Tharp, Hildegard. Indian American astronaut and aerospace engineer, Chawla was the first woman of Indian origin to fly to space. She tragically died in the space shuttle Columbia disaster on Feb 1, 2003, when the spacecraft disintegrated during its re entry into Earth's atmosphere. Her contribution to space exploration and legacy are honored by the lunar crater, which was named after her in 2006. What are the 16-step program as detailed in Plan of Space Exploration 1926? Let's see. Let's see. Wow. 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 Tsiolkovsky. Tsiolkovsky. I see plants. What are these drawings? I see Among Us characters over here. Wow, wow, wow. What is happening? The chart of cosmic exploration. Wow, very interesting. This is spacewalk. You go in, you go in, close this door. Both are closed. You remove vacuum, or yeah, you go in, you close this door, then you open this door, then you get out. Open, go in, shut. He's explaining spacewalk over here. Plan of space exploration outlined a visionary 16-step program for human civilization to settle the universe. Settle the universe. This is so interesting. And this is him explaining spacewalk. Wow, really cool. Design of rocket propelled airplanes with wing. This ship involves development of aircraft that can take off and land vertically using rocket propulsion, progressively increasing the speed and altitudes reached with these airplanes. The focus here is on pushing the boundaries of speed and altitude, preparing for the transition to pure rocket flight. Designing of a pure rocket without wings, transitioning from winged aircraft to rockets designed specifically for space travel, developing the ability to land on the ocean surface by rocket. This ship envisions rockets capable of landing on water, which could serve as a precursor to landing on other celestial bodies. Oh, reaching of escape velocity and first flight into space. Reaching of escape velocity and first flight into space. Achieving the speed necessary to escape Earth's gravity and enter space. Lengthening of the rocket flight time into space. Extending the duration of space missions to allow for more extensive exploration. Extending the duration of space missions to allow for more extensive exploration. Extending the duration, extending the duration of space missions to allow for more extensive exploration. Experimental use of plants to make an artificial atmosphere in spacecraft, introducing life support systems using plants to recycle air and provide oxygen. Using of pressurized spacesuits for activity outside spacecraft, developing suits for astronauts to perform extravehicular activities in space, making of orbital greenhouses for plants, establishing facilities in orbit to grow food and support life, building. This is so interesting. This is so interesting because this is so similar to Ferdinand Magellan, who was taking on this 3 month trip across the Pacific Ocean. And because they didn't have fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, that's the reason why most of the people died. 69 people died, 70 people died, which is a significant portion, like 30%. 30%, yeah, pretty much 30% of their crew died because they didn't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. So now we are trying to solve for that by making sure that we can actually create these artificial atmospheres and greenhouses where plants can survive and we can grow food while we are traveling through this metaphorical Pacific Ocean for 3 months. Wow. Establishing facilities in orbit to grow food and support life, building of the large orbital habitats around the Earth, constructing space stations or habitats for long term human habitation around the Earth, constructing space stations or habitats for long term human habitation, using solar radiation to grow food to heat space quarters and for transport needs throughout the solar system, harnessing solar energy for various needs in space, colonization of the asteroid belt, expanding human presence to the asteroid belt for resource extraction and habitation, colonization of the entire solar system and beyond, extending human settlements to other planets and moons within the solar system, achievement of individual and social perfection. This step reflects Tsiolkovsky's philosophical belief that space exploration would elevate human development, overcrowding of the solar system and galaxy colonization, addressing the potential for overpopulation by expanding into the galaxy, overcrowding of the solar system and galaxy colonization, addressing the potential for overpopulation by expanding into the galaxy. This is so interesting. Like similar to how we had when these first explorers went out to circumnavigate the world and they had to fight indigenous people. When we go and explore different planets and galaxy, what kind of indigenous people will we find over there? Addressing the potential for overpopulation by expanding into the galaxy. The sun begins to die, and the people remaining in the solar system's population move to other solar systems, preparing for the eventual death of the sun by migrating to other star systems. Preparing for the eventual death of the sun by migrating to other star systems. Wow. This guy is thinking in 1926, 100 years ago, he thought about everything. He thought about everything. The sun begins to die, and the people remaining in the solar system's population move to other solar systems, preparing for the eventual death of the sun by migrating to other star systems. Overcrowding of the solar system and galaxy colonization, addressing the potential for overpopulation. This step reflects Tsiolkovsky's philosophical belief that space exploration would elevate human development. Wow, crazy, crazy. I actually want to know more about that. Okay, tell me more. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky's philosophy belief that space exploration will elevate human development is deeply rooted in his broader cosmic philosophy. Cosmic philosophy was not just about the technical aspects of space travel, but also about the moral and ethical implications. Right. At the end of the day, it's humans. We are exploring, and it's not always that simple. We have to, first of all, struggle and do the hard things, figure out the sciences, move fast. And then it's also the fact that, okay, similar to how when Magellan, he was taking he had this vision of circumnavigating the world. He took with him 260 to 270 men who would help him out, and they were on with him. They were with him on the mission. But at the end, he faced a lot of mutiny. Actually, let's read about it. He faced a lot of mutiny among that crew who believed in his vision, who were down, who knew that this is going to be hard and they might fail, but they still were down for it. But then there was a mutiny. So you have to understand the human elements of exploration, and it is dangerous both because the challenge is hard, but also the people. Philosophy was not just about the technical aspects of space travel, but also about the moral and ethical implications. He believed that space exploration was a means to achieve universal happiness, which he defined as the absence of all suffering in the universe for all times. Hmm. He believed that space exploration was a means to achieve universal happiness, which he defined as the absence of all suffering in the universe for all times. Human evolution. He saw space exploration as a catalyst for human evolution, both physiologically and mentally. Tsiolkovsky believed that the challenges of space would drive humanity to develop new technologies, adapt to new environments, and ultimately transcend the limitations of Earth. Hmm. He saw space exploration as a catalyst for human evolution, both physiologically and mentally. Tsiolkovsky believed that the challenges of space would drive humanity to develop new technologies, adapt to new environments, and ultimately transcend the limitations of Earth. Moral imperative, survival and expansion. He argued that humanity must become a space civilization to survive. He viewed space colonization as a moral necessity driven by the need to provide living space for future generations and to ensure the survival of the species beyond the lifespan of the sun. Tsiolkovsky argued that humanity must become a space civilization to survive. He viewed space colonization as a moral necessity driven by the need to provide living space for future generations and to ensure the survival of the species beyond the lifespan of the sun. Humanity must become a space civilization to survive. Must become a space civilization to survive. He viewed space colonization as a moral necessity driven by the need to provide living space for future generations and to ensure the survival of the species beyond the lifespan of the sun. Ensure the survival of the species beyond the lifespan of the sun. Ethical considerations. His work, particularly ethics or the natural foundations of morality, explored the ethical implications of space exploration. His work, particularly ethics or the natural foundations of morality, explored the ethical implications of space exploration. He believed that the pursuit of space would lead to the perfection of the human species, with immortality and a carefree existence as ultimate goals. Hmm. Ethical considerations. His work, particularly ethics or the natural foundations of morality, explored the ethical implications of space exploration. He believed that the pursuit of space would lead to the perfection of the human species, with immortality and a carefree existence as ultimate goals. Hmm. Vision for the future, space culture. Tsiolkovsky envisioned the first space flight as the beginning of a new era of space exploration, marking the start of space culture in human history. He saw this as the beginning of humanity's true history, where space exploration would become an integral part of human identity and progress. He envisioned the first space flight as the beginning of a new era of space exploration, marking the start of space culture in human history. He saw this as the beginning of humanity's true history. He saw this as the beginning of humanity's true history, where space exploration would become an integral part of human identity and progress. As the beginning of humanity's true history, where space exploration would become an integral part of human identity and progress. He foresaw a future where humans would master nature, abolish natural catastrophes, and achieve happiness for all through the colonization of space. This vision included the use of solar energy, the establishment of space habitats, and the eventual migration to other star systems. Hmm. Cosmic civilization. He foresaw a future where humans would master nature, abolish natural catastrophes, and achieve happiness for all. He foresaw a future where humans would master nature, abolish natural catastrophes, and achieve happiness for all through the colonization of space. Through the colonization of space. This vision included the use of solar energy. This is so interesting. This is so interesting. This makes me think about how my idea of America has changed recently. If you look at the entire world, like we have like Indians, they look a certain way. They have a certain culture. If you think of Russians, they live a certain way. They have a certain culture. They have a certain language. If you look at Chinese people, again similar. But when you look at America, America is truly, it's all about just opportunity. It's an opportunity land. Because yes, we still today think about how the idea of Americans, but if you go to a city like San Francisco or New York, you just realize that hey, this is a land of opportunities. This is where people who live around the world, who think that they want more opportunity, they want to be around other people who come from around the world, with whom they can work, they can live, they can learn. So they go to a place like New York, they go to a place like San Francisco, where it's literally like a, what's the word? It's a it's a pot where you took all these cultures, you put them together, you mix them up, and now you get you and now the thing that everybody aligns on is opportunity. That's what they align on, because they are like, oh, we all don't have, we all don't look the same way, we all don't have the same background, we all don't speak the same languages, we all don't eat the same kind of food traditionally when we grew up. But now we are all here aligned, because we are aligned that we are here for opportunity, we are here for to make something good. We are here because this is the place called global maxima, and we want to make the most out of it. We want to make the most of this opportunity. And similarly, this is something that might happen, like cosmic civilization. When now everybody is moving towards space, what will again happen is the cream of the crop, the cream from every single, from the entire earth, would decide to work on space to become a cosmic civilization. The others that reject that idea, they will stay. The people who are adventurers, who would want to go for this adventure, the cosmic civilization, they will be the cream of the crop. They will be thinking the most ahead, the furthest in terms of where humanity can go. And then they will choose to be part of this cosmic civilization. And again, this will be a blend. This will be a blend of people from around the world who are not aligned, who don't eat the same kind of food, who don't look the same, but they are aligned on the opportunity. They are aligned on the opportunity that humanity could be spacefaring civilization. And that would achieve happiness, because that would be the final, and that would be the point where you would just realize that yes, at the end of the day, we are all just humans, we all have the same, we all might have different stories when we grew up, that is all just different ways of trauma that we get. Either you had too much involvement of your parents, or you had no involvement of parents. Either you were too controlled, or you were lonely, or something bad happened to you when you were a kid, or too good happened to you that you became too comfortable and you never had to work hard. So it's like, it's just different kind of traumas. Everybody starts understanding each other, and that's how you become, that's how you achieve happiness for all, through the colonization of space. I don't know, this was very random, but I believe this is true. Like, I have stopped looking at America as America is for Americans, Canada is for Canadians. No, these are places which offer opportunity, and if you are aligned with that goal, you come here and you make the most of that opportunity. Some people come here for the opportunity and don't actually make it happen. That's also true. But at the end of the day, the reason people come here is because they have an idea in their mind that hey, they want a better life. They come here and then they work to make that better life a reality. Hmm. This vision included, so yeah, very long tangent, but that reminds me of cosmic civilization. This vision included the use of solar energy, the establishment of space habitats, and the eventual migration to other star systems. Inspiration for future generations. Tsiolkovsky's ideas inspired many, including Sergei Korolev, the USSR's chief rocket engineer, and other pioneers in space exploration. His philosophical outlook provided a moral and ethical framework for the pursuit of space travel. His contributions were recognized by naming a moon crater after him, and his work continues to influence space science and philosophy, emphasizing the importance of space exploration for human development. Belief in the elevating power of space exploration was not just about technological advancement, but about the moral, ethical, and philosophical evolution of humanity. He saw space as the next frontier for human growth, where the challenges of the cosmos would drive us to become better, more resilient, and ultimately more enlightened beings. But again, we read We read about Hayao Miyazaki and what he said. You have to see the good and bad and the bad and good and pledge to wow instead to preserve the balance. That was actually a really good quote. That was a really good quote. Hayao Miyazaki quotes on quote quote on preserving balance of good and bad. Okay, let's see. Let's see. That should be the first one. Yes, it is the first one. You must see the eyes. You must see with eyes unclouded by hate. You must see with eyes unclouded by hate. See the good in that which is evil, and see evil in that which is good. Pledge yourself to neither side. Pledge yourself to neither side, but vow instead to preserve the balance that exists between the two. You must see with eyes unclouded by hate. See the good in that which is evil, and evil in that which is good. Pledge yourself to neither side, but vow instead to preserve the balance that exists between the two. This quote encapsulates Miyazaki's philosophy on the duality of human nature and the importance of understanding and maintaining balance. Pledge yourself. You must you must see the good and bad and the bad and good. Pledge yourself to neither side, but vow instead to preserve the balance that exists between the two. Pledge yourself to neither side, but vow instead to preserve the balance that exists between the two. Hmm. See the good in that which is evil, and evil in that which is good. Balance in all forms. Advocates for balance in all aspects of life, including the balance between good and evil. Anti-war and pro-ecology. Opposition to simplistic good versus evil narratives. The mainstream concept of portraying evil and then destroying it, arguing that this oversimplifies the complexities of life and human behavior. He believes that blaming and punishing a particular entity for evil acts is a hopeless approach. I think when I think about what Tsiolkovsky is saying and what Hayao Miyazaki is saying is I see an approach where Tsiolkovsky is very inspirational. He's talking about how that would be great. And it makes sense. I also believe that. I believe that every time you have a big challenge that if everybody just happy because things are just good, it will slowly lead to complacency and just sadness. Because our goal is not to be happy. Our goal is to challenge ourselves to actually suffer. Because after suffering, we we reach that point of happiness. Either we celebrate what we get, or or I don't know. But yeah, so Miyazaki has a more pragmatic approach over here, where he accepts what is reality, what is the real life. The real life, he has scored the whole world is rubbish, uh, but still he is one of the best anime creators. So he has kind of find the balance of reaching for the best, but also realizing what is the world, what is living a normal day to day like. Hmm. Humans are both the urge to create and destroy, suggesting that understanding and managing his duality is crucial for personal and societal growth. Wow, really cool. Okay, that's the stream. Thank you.